finally, you you make it like any other ordinary Ugandan. You don't plan very well. Because once you know it's a Monday, and we've had this plan since Friday.
Yeah.
So since we're supposed to
and
do a
who was
podcast-
delaying the whole time?
Myself, because of course there were a lot of things interjecting, but finally
Yeah.
I've come. But I'm saying on this specific day, with time, because what we're trying to do also, we're trying to make podcasting very cheap. Yeah.
Sure.
So we do a lot of other podcasts for different people. So we kind of have a schedule. But very glad you've made it here.
Yeah, awesome.
So we can talk about stuff. But first, I'll let you introduce yourself and what you do and what you're mostly interested in. Then I'll pick this conversation from you.
Okay. My name is Humphrey Wampula. How can I say? I have been a journalist for 10 years, majorly at New Vision, or Vision Group to be exact. Well, at Vision Group, I think I had about 4 jobs. I think I was the first person who had more than one job, in the whole place. And I think I was the youngest at the time. I started out as a writer, then for New Vision, then went to Kampala Sun as a writer, doing movie reviews, then went to Urban TV, where I had that show. Then I later on became the producer of the show. Then I went on to try radio at Hot 100. Then I went on to do Swag magazine. So a lot of things I did. So I left about after 10 years, I think around COVID, what the media now wants to call the Great Resignation, because a lot of young people are now having a change of career. To me, I thought I'd gotten at a point where I felt like there's not much I can add, to myself.
To yourself,
to what I was doing, yes, there was a lot, but to myself, I wanted to challenge myself more. So I veered off. I went into sales and marketing. Yeah, so I took on a couple of clients. That's what I'm doing up to now. And then on the side, I do trading. I do Forex trading. I do crypto trading.
Interesting. I'll definitely get into that crypto talk. I'll probably also have to shed you again with my co-host, who wants to call himself the Bitcoin master, but I also don't trust him. But yes, he's very knowledgeable so much about all this crypto stuff. He has also bought a lot of crypto, but that's for Kenneth's time to talk.
Yeah.
Now, journalism, broadcast, and all this stuff. How do you look at the transition from analog to? I do not know in your 10 years if you had seen the transition or you had left before it, from analog to now the digital era, because we now access news in all different ways. I do not see why I have to buy newspapers if I can, because what's in the newspapers is what's going to be on my phone. They're probably going to get the stories from my Twitter feed or from anywhere else I want to get the news. So isn't that like a challenge? Is this also why you left? Because
it's one of the reasons. You see, I read this article, I think it was by, for the partnership with Ipsos and another research firm in the UK. They saw that the transformation is coming, digital transformation. Yeah. But then again, they also saw that the biggest challenge is the heads at the moment, the bosses, because they're coming from a generation where it's about buying the newspaper, physically reading the physical copy, and they still felt like reading it on the phone, reading it online, reading it on social media is just a phase that will die. So they refused to accept. And so they noted that it has to be deliberate action by the board and the bosses, the ones who, the business heads. Yeah. And right now they're jumping on board, but then with one leg. Even if you look at the biggest powerhouses right now, you look at Daily Monitor, you look at Vision Group, you look at maybe Observer, they are really going there, then not going there, they're not putting their feet there. And Kenya's already left us. Yeah. And but the harsh reality is going to come, because even I'll give an example. While I was a journalist, I myself used to publish every week, but I never had the energy or the motivation to buy a single copy. Yeah, because it's somewhere, I think it died around 2017, 2016. Because I felt I could easily go to a website or whatever and get the story. And sometimes stories happen like right in the instance, like the attempted assassination of Katumba Wamala. Before the news gave you the story the following day, we had literally half the story the moment it happened, like at least minutes after. So it changes a lot of things that, and also the approach of how media house is supposed to do this. But I think it's something we have to wait and see. I see now Daily Monitor. I was talking to the head there, Mrs. Akedash. They started their department for digital, which is now a step in the right direction. Vision Group has also had for a long time had a digital department, which now they are really putting together. So they are now getting into seeing how they can push out news in a way that can have the young people consume it, different from when you expect people to buy papers like clockwork every morning buying papers, and it's not happening. So I think they saw that the harsh reality was that the sales went down because people are not buying papers.
When you mentioned that you also worked with Kampala Sun, I remembered my very good friend Daniel, who is getting right on after here, saying the news, by the time he was still acting in the hostel, Kampala Sun depressed him, put him in a moment of depression because of the stories they used to write about him and all that stuff. So, before I actually go into the big conversation, do you feel good about that? No, I not like you in person, but because of course you're a writer. One of the things I know about Jay-Z's success, when Jay-Z is talking about his success, he remembers most of the time he was still a drug dealer. And when you're a drug dealer, you impact so many lives negatively. You literally end a lot of people's lives. So he, if he's to go back in time, according to him, he says he would love to meet every other single person he sold drugs to, and it changed their lives negatively, and see if he could change that. But he definitely cannot do that. I remember that because of people like you, you're putting other people into depression. Do you think, is this one of the other reasons you left? Or?
To be exact, to be specific to that Daniel Amara story, it wasn't Kampala Sun. I remember very well it was Red Pepper. Red Pepper had said that I think he stole money, something like that. And I fabricated some stories that had no, truth to it. And I understand that. But regards what Kampala Sun does and what now shows that, now, things like Kampala Sun translate, when they translate into TV, they are more like what you see on Uncut and what Tina Fierce used to do, and Mary Luswata. And I live for that kind of content. I have to be honest. I'm not apologetic about it. Not to borrow from Uncut's unapologetic, but I don't apologize. That's the kind of content we should have. And let me even shock you and give you a very good some small bit of my history. I think I just joined London College, St. Lawrence, Senior 5, and I immediately asked the warden, "Do you guys have a writers club?" And they told me we don't. Then the information prefect at that time was called Daniel Bendera. I said, we read news at the assembly, but we just read news from the newspapers. I said, no, we have to change this. We have to now do news of things happening in school. For example, someone farts in a class. That's news. It will be fun to read it on assembly. And they said, guys are going to be really embarrassed. No, we can't do that. I said, if someone, let's say, if we're playing a game, let's say interclass and whatnot, and they won, we have to find a way of making it funny and then reading it on the news.
So making it funny as a story is one thing, that I probably have no problem with that. But what has currently been happening has been so much around malice, where we have cases like Suna suing journalists, and I do not know if case passes for a journalist, but media personalities. Because you see, when you're just in the middle, because of the clips, I do not watch. Personally, I don't watch NBS TV. I don't agree with a lot of their principles and how they operate. But when you see the stories that run and how they want to talk about people, celebrities, where maybe as a celebrity you're designed to fit into such structures and you're supposed to maybe draw a defense mechanism against things like that. But when you are attacked as the person and not just the figure you are, it changes everything about you.
I think the issue should be about the approach to the whole delivery of the news. Because if you're going to say something that is a lie, then there's a problem. Let's say like a case saying that Suna is a witch doctor, practices juju, whatever, and there's no proof to that, then that becomes malice. But if he has proof to it, so I wouldn't care whichever way he turns it to sound funny, or whichever way he ridicules it, or attaches satire to it, or any sort of like, how can I say, any fun to it. There's no challenge. Now it becomes malice, and I don't support it if it is if you're publishing lies or saying lies about someone. But in as far as what Kampala Sun used to do, or what Uncut does, or what such news delivery kind of approach does, I am for it 100%. Now, like I was telling you, when I changed that, most people did not appreciate it in school. But then with time, it was what everyone was looking forward to during assembly. Everyone, I used to call it, did you know?
Yeah.
So in other words, it was more like satire, but of actual things that have happened. Even if it was our school team, I remember that time, our school team, rugby team, was whooped by Budo. And I made fun of them that they took a lot of time practicing. They would even miss classes. They would leave classes early and whatnot, only to be walloped on the last day and whatnot. So I made it so funny in a way that the entire school laughed. And the boys would come. The rugby guys actually threatened to beat me up in the dormitory. But it's part of the thing. But as long as you've not lied. So if Daniel Wamala had actually done those things and there was proof, I wouldn't have a problem with the guys who said it. But if there's no proof and you're just going on hearsays, then it becomes malice. So I really support what Uncut does and what such Kampala Sun does and whatnot, but when it's not true, then it's malice. Then I don't support it.
Is that the only way we can find topics that can trend? Because at the end of the day, because what media is supposed to do, like the Nigerians, now when it comes to celebrated people, they're supposed to bank on our media to be to get to other airspaces. But once media is only selling negative stories about them, that means media is also shutting down doors for them. Because once you Google people like, let's say, OS, and you only find articles from Kampala Sun and probably what OS was typing and or K's was saying about OS, it becomes, for any other labels, let's say anyone from that side, because AS is a very talented musician, besides the fact that he has not released any music, but he's behind tracks like Nakudata, where anyone who listens to his music really understands that he has the talent to sing. So stepping on him and clowning on him just for the news, to me, is not worth it. What qualifies to be a story?
Like I've said, what qualifies to be a story is if it has truth to it beyond reasonable doubt. If you trust your source. Now, when it comes to, I can't really blame Case. Do you know why? Because for a very long time, Suna has always been linked to these stories of him using juju. When they were having a good relationship with Aziza Zion some years back, Aziza Zion left, and one of the things they said is because this guy does juju and I don't believe in juju. You understand? So if Case jumped onto that, one thing that probably didn't help him is because he didn't have proof to it. Yeah, he was just moving with the hearsays. So what he could have done when he was covering that story was just to hint on it, but not to really build on it like he really has proof to back him up. Because even if it were me who does the juju and you do that, there's a way it pricks my self-image. Yeah, because remember the guy came out crying. Yeah. He came out crying like, why would you say this and this? But so what qualifies something to be news or to qualify to actually be broadcast? And this is why most media houses need quality control departments. Is say something where, one, at least you have a credible source. Two, you have evidence. That can back it up. If it's just a hearsay, then don't say it. Or if it's a hearsay, say it like it's a hearsay and mention it and make it clear it is a hearsay. But don't say it like you actually believe it, because Kay has actually said it like he actually knows. He's been there to the shrine. So that's when you go wrong. Do
you think it was rightfully correct for the guy to be taken to prison? And how did they even get to that level where his one party is actually being detained?
Right now, if you have money,
because I've also listened to one of the clips that was running around. I think their PR guy shared it online, where OS was confessing to the fact that mujoba bakazi mbawe richness some stuff like that. Like he really was confessing to the fact that he may be practicing this. This is why I didn't feed into the story. But then one ended up in prison. So I do not know how that...
If you have money and... not necessarily if you have money, because I don't think he really has a lot of money. But if you have money to spend, there are two different things. You might have 50,000, but you're ready to spend it to just harm someone. But it's all you have. Yeah? So if you have money in Uganda, it's very easy to marry someone. Like Mark, if you pissed me off today off the podcast, I can easily go and pay police kavangali
come.
and they come and pick you up.
I agree.
And I have to make sure it's like on a Friday, because if it's on a Friday, you're going to spend the entire weekend in.
Sure.
You understand? And I think they got arrested, I think like on a Friday, so they have to spend a weekend in prison. So it's very simple. As long as you pay this and pay this, there are very many people. It's very simple. The people do it every day. Rich parents do it to their boyfriends of their daughters every day, where they find out you're dating a daughter and the guy puts in jail, but it's not a crime.
Yeah.
So it's easy for him to do what he did. But at the end of the day, I think I would still blame the bosses at Next Media for not protecting their own as fast as they did, because they have the connections, they have everything they need. And I think it took way too long. It took way longer. Those boys shouldn't have spent that much time in prison.
Now, as someone who has spent 10 years in broadcasts, what are some of those things you feel like should be done with our broadcast media in Uganda?
Let me tell you, the reason I left broadcast is because I gave up on Ugandan broadcast.
How so?
Okay, here's one thing about me. I quit soccer. I quit supporting soccer because I realized the game is rigged. I was a big fan of Arsenal. I was a big Arsenal fan. But I realized you can't be this dumb not to realize that you need the best players to actually compete. You can't be bringing in kids time and again and still failing time and again and still think you're heading somewhere. Yeah. But then I realized they're making money in one way because the club is very profitable. Yeah. And making it or being big or winning the leagues wasn't their priority. So I was like, you know what? I hated soccer all the way because I saw through the business. It's not just a game. It's a whole business. So coming to media, I had a lot of love. Man, everything I've done, I don't think anyone has outdone what I've done. No mean to brag. I'm just saying, like, everything I've put my hands to.
Like what? Like I want.
Like let's say when I came in with a teen show, it was just 30 minutes. The rest of the teen shows were like 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. They'll start like at 9 and like at midday. Yeah. Mine was just 30 minutes. Like it starts like at 10:30 is already done. You missed it, you missed out. But it was like punchline. You understand? And I measured on what I thought was dope. Coming on to Swag, I revamped Swag from what it was, gave it a facelift. I gave it the best. I made sure it had the best pictorials and whatnot, and basically the stories. So basically, whatever it was, to the time I got it and the time I left it, it was nothing could compare to it at the moment. In the industry, nowhere could compare to it. So I realized there's more that can be done. I talked to people who are responsible, and I told them, look at Kenya. Yeah, look at Kenya. Kenyans are showing us with NTV and they're doing something dope, and these things can be done here in Uganda. When King Karisa came through with NTV, I told them, NBS yeah. and Next Media and everything, and Next Radio, I was like, these are not even new ideas. Next Radio is more like NRG Radio in Nairobi. It's like a copy-paste. Yeah, the studio, the whole platform, the whole concept. It's not new, but the thing is, he's aggressive, he's doing it. Is he Kenyan? He's not Kenyan. So imagine the broadcast industry or the media industry had just 3 King Karisas. Where would it live where I was working? You understand? They would basically be like those funny stations right under. So I saw things can be done and they're not being done, and people are like, I said, Jesus, I think it's best let me go and try something else.
So one of the other things is also content, yeah?
Yeah.
A lot of companies are outsourcing a lot of content from a lot of TVs right now. Now, when you look at TVs like channels like Azam, they outsource other content creators, and you talked about quality control. They just outsource content creators, then give their content a platform, yeah? Because right now, TV is dealing with a lot of issues now, content creation. What content is there? A lot, when you look at Uncut, the idea is also not really original. They're just pasting some other uncensored show I've seen on YouTube, I think. So I do not know if it's people, creatives just do not have the equip to really create their own stuff, or the guys at the top have a rigid mindset that they only know that this is what can work. Because I know now, like, for example, for us, Overtime, what we're trying to do is we're giving opportunities to a lot more people, to whoever thinks their idea can come through. Really, it makes sense. We let a lot more people create their own content. and give that. We were trying to like draw a basket of lots of content and putting it out there. And we also don't believe in the whole censored. We feel like most of these social medias where content is put are having so much power censoring. With what freedom of speech is going away, Facebook alone is now wants to decide who is correct and who is wrong. So we just want a platform where, because now YouTube is also becoming funny, it's censoring a lot of content, and their listening algorithm is extremely too high. So that's a challenge. But we want people to speak their mind, to be in a free world where you can just have a conversation, like a conversation. For us, we do not mind if you're going to swear on the podcast. It's about you having a conversation with me, and I feel comfortable with it. You feel comfortable with it as a guest. Because this is better than TV. Because now TV has to push sales. This is where we get in situations like Ks and OS and all that funny stuff, yeah?
I think, like I said, it has to be deliberate action from the top guys, the business heads. Because Uganda, especially Uganda, to be honest, Uganda has a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Like all my days when I used to be working, like let's say on TV, I would find kids who are too good. And like they were really too good. Even when it comes to design or writing and whatnot, there are very many people who are talented. You go to Design Hub, you find people who design packagings that will blow your mind away. But the thing is, are the business heads or the people that make decisions willing to pay? They are not. Yeah? You look at a wedding nowadays that has a very beautiful set.
Yeah.
And then you look at your best-selling TV station with a funny set. You understand? So are these things possible or they are not possible? You look at things that...
So how much is content making money for
here's the thing.
Well? Where's the business perspective?
The business is there.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's deliberate action. Hunger for dope. Yeah? Hunger for dope. Hunger for like for something nice. Hunger for not just doing things for, which is now the mindset of many of the people who are the business heads. They just want to do things for and just close the day and same thing, repeat business tomorrow. Yeah. Whereas young people like you and I, and young people like you see when you see Dejan, when you see Canary, you see young people who are hungry. They want to do something that actually makes an impact. They don't want to just come on set and move off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, like you don't want to just come and do a podcast and call it a day. You want to make sure your set is really nice looking. Yeah. It has a branded merchandise. It has a good set. It has good sound system. It has good cameras and everything. Otherwise, someone else would have used like a camcorder or a phone and just said, I also do a podcast. You understand? So now the old guys up there don't really understand these things. And but I'm hopeful because by the time that generation dies out, and this is one thing, mark my word, because I'll pull back this podcast in future, like let's say 10 years. By the time this generation dies out, the generation is making decisions in these big media houses. By the time they die out, like these young people that are going to come and take over are going to bury all they have done. All these things they say, so I have 30 years experience, 20 years. Young people are going to bury all that in just 2 years or 3 years when they take over because they know what is actually happening and they know what actually should be, how can I say, what attracts young people. You understand? Because there's a generational difference. That is actually a big problem right now. It's a generational gap.
But then when you speak on the business side, yeah? Because see this podcast, how it's consumed. Let's say Apple Music, Spotify, and all these things, yeah? Right now, I do not want to brag, but I know that we really pick up a big percentage of podcasts in Uganda. We have a big percentage of people listening to our podcast. We've tried to put it out there. We've tried to market it. We've tried to get a lot of guests like you to really circulate it so people can still listen to it. But the numbers are still, the eyeballs are still low, both audio and visual. YouTube, if I do not have to put a few friends of mine to push the podcast, you will still say that average number of eyeballs on YouTube will be around 500 views. Yeah, that is between 2 days. Yeah, that is still too little for an advertiser to really bring in money to push the thing. So content itself is not yet consumed very well in the country. So I would understand why these business guys are still rigid on the ways that have been tested and proved for them to sell more numbers than.
It's always try and error. For as long as you figure out the right way to go, it's always try and error. You can have the right strategy, but sometimes maybe execution somewhere is a problem. Yeah. So because this is a brilliant idea. So if maybe the numbers are a problem, then you have to maybe look at other factors that maybe what do people love consuming? Is it controversy? Maybe let me get bad black once in a while, or maybe let me get feminists.
yeah.
And then maybe let me get Stella Nyanzi. Okay, let me do, or if not that, let me just move the podcast like you're planning to, and maybe take it to Fort Portal. Let me take it to the beach. Let me take it. You understand. So, or let me look for people who actually do these things and do things that which are usually catchy and whatnot, or maybe it's the topics. So it's always try and error. You just never know. So until you find your niche and you hit it like this, trust me, it will click.
But specifically, and this is not for any other podcasts we are doing.
Yeah.
This is for just big conversations by ordinary people. We believe that if we produce timely content, conversations now, like if
and
someone
consistently,
consistently, but then conversations that someone who is listening can learn from, and from both the host and the guest. My brother there, Glenn, can learn something from what you've said or what I have said. And it does not matter if they consume that now or it's going to be relevant, because the fastest way I've learned personally is through podcasts. I've learned a few things. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to Tim Harris. I listen to Joe Rogan. I listen to a lot of those guys. But I learned so much that otherwise one school would not teach me.
Yeah, sure.
Then I would still not get from
because
news.
they are free to talk uncensored. They just
exactly news is just looking to also trend and get hashtags moving and all that stuff. But I get a lot of my information, personal information that helps my personal self to develop or get better from podcasts. So this is what we are trying to also put with this podcast, the conversations. This is one now for you. We'll have to go and talk about online trading right after this podcast thing and a lot more. But no one has that time, because these podcasts go along. The longest podcast we have, I think, is with Kenneth and Eva. And they're speaking for about 2 hours and 40 minutes, 2 hours, 45 minutes. That is a lot of, no one in Uganda wants to create that much time.
On TV.
Everyone is like, Ugandans do not have data, what. But we believe that if the conversation is good and there's something someone can learn from it, they can always come to it. And the thing with podcasts, you can pause, come back even tomorrow. Listen, start from there and listen. So the culture, we believe if we just print this culture in people,
I think now people like you, such as yourself, and big conversations, I think I also believe you come in at the right time, because believe you me, there are very many people who have done podcasts before you guys, but people don't know them. I've listened to a couple of Ugandan podcasts with dope content. But the reason why they didn't really get the audience they needed is because the culture in Uganda, people have not yet gotten their heads around that, hey, people are actually doing podcasts. People actually do things called podcasts, and you can go on YouTube, you can go on Apple. It's just the few elite who actually do that. Because now I can tell that a few of my friends actually they've had a podcast. They even have iPhones. There are very many people here probably even watching this. They have iPhones, but they've never gone to the podcast app. They've never tapped it. And if they have, they just scroll through and they're like,
exactly.
You understand? They're just scrolling through and they're like,
How do you think that is going to change?
Now, the thing is, it's going to take time. I think it's going to be a shift. It has to be a shift. That is why I'm saying that though I don't want to how can I say, reduce your motivation, but I'm going to say you are a martyr. You understand? You're a martyr in this crusade of like podcasts, Ugandans and listen to podcasts. Because yes, you are creating this whole thing, you're putting in your money and time, because all this doesn't come cheap.
Exactly.
The cameras don't come cheap.
Definitely.
All the time you're putting in, you could have been doing something else. You could have probably been, today's a working day, you could have been at an office. You understand? But you're not. So you're dedicating all this time. And some new brilliant kids at a later time, let's say in 5 years, 2 years, are going to build on top of what you've built. And maybe for them, they will have more views at one point or whatever, when the whole thing has caught on and people now actually understand what podcasts are. Whether you're going to put it on SoundCloud, or you're going to put it on Apple, or you're going to put it on Android apps for podcasts or wherever. But right now, it's a shift, and we have to be patient for people to actually get onto them, because even the biggest media houses have podcasts, but you have more views than them. You have more listeners than them.
True.
So that is how complicated it is at the moment, but it is worth getting into, because it is going to be big. It's only now people like you that are going to be big names, like at the time this blows up.
I hope so. Okay.
I hope so. It's going to happen.
I think
it's going to happen.
I've had my test of being a big name, and it doesn't always come cheap. It just becomes tricky for you, and how people have these weird expectations of the person you are.
Yeah,
The other thing we
sure.
have tried is to market this podcast. Now, one of the ways I have tried to market it is using influencers and influential marketing. But I have felt cheated. Because, one, I feel like the industry of marketing in Uganda, just all the influencers, and this is top notch, whoever, even if you've been working for TV and what, people just do it wrong. And maybe I also do not know how to lead them to do it right. Because then people are so about trending hashtags, and I feel like that does not work. And for this model. So it just ends there, like it's a blip. We're not breaking news like Canary, Twitter.
I don't know if you've been following my tweets. There's a time I've been sharing marketing tips.
Yeah.
There's a time I shared.
I follow your tweets, definitely.
I shared. I call them lecture tweets anyway. I shared one which said that influencers are not marketers, and I think one of the guests you've had here before is Albert.
Yeah.
He was like, I was going to fight until I read the whole thing and he understood it. Yeah. So the thing is, what I meant is, influencers do not complete the whole mix.
Chain, yeah.
Yeah, they don't complete the whole mix because a lot of things involved. Now, influencers come through at the very end, not at the beginning. They are the last. They're the end goal. The end person. How can I say? You know, like person you pass the baton to finish the race. Now, those are the influencers. Now, many people make a mistake that when they have started a business or something like, or anything moving, they are like influencers. But they have skipped the branding. They have skipped the whole strategizing and having a whole communications strategy and whatnot. So by the time you give it to the influencers, especially Ugandan influencers, the only thing.
Why are you laughing? What's wrong with Ugandan influencers? What's wrong with Ugandan influencers?
Many of them think it's all about tweeting. Like I have my followers, so I'll just tweet big conversations, and my followers will like and retweet. And that is it.
How do we convert? How do we convert to the final goal? If let's say I want viewership, but actually viewership is not, because if I want viewers, there are very many ways I can get viewers for this podcast. I can pay Russian bots. I can pay, I can.
The best way is to go.
Bots. But my end goal is to get people interested in the content, because what we do here is we believe the content we create is very good. So what I would want from an influencer is to get people interested in what I am doing, so that I actually have like a fan base of people waiting. Say every other Thursday, they tune into this podcast. I release podcasts every probably Monday, Tuesday, either Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday. One of those days. Not specific, depending on how fast Dagibi has edited it. So that is when I release. But I want mostly people to get interested, because I want to drive the traffic to the channel.
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
There's a time we were trying to push, I think it was Beneath the Lies.
Yeah.
And we're in a meeting with the producers of the thing. Kabshenga was there, Robert Kabshenga. I was there in the meeting. It was in his boardroom. And I said, why don't we use influencers? And he said something that changed my mind. He said, people actually have a way of telling that this is a pushed hashtag or a synthetic plastic. You call it plastic.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it is best we do this organically. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's going to have to be organic, where at least we have the staff talk about it on their social media, like they actually mean it and whatnot. And then we go to the platforms and maybe retweet, and not even just retweet, but reply and talk, and maybe like they say nowadays, you quote the tweet and talk about it, not just to quote it and whatnot. So if you're going to push something, it has to be organic, because when someone sees, because most people on Twitter know the influencers. Me, if I saw someone talking about a hospital, like these influencers, I wouldn't really be interested. But if I saw a random person actually giving a story about it, that's organic. But if I saw my friends, I know this guy has gotten like a 50K, is just tweeting, or like a 100K or whatever it is, you understand? So you have to push something organically. And the thing is, I've been listening to this. It's good content. You've had good people here talk about really interesting stuff. And then you have to move from what you've done already. Now it's part of branding that you've done. Yeah. Now you have to create a bigger, much organic branding strategy around this podcast. Yeah. And then you see how you keep it interactive, because for as long as it just stays enclosed, where people only see you pushing out content and it's not interactive, then there becomes a problem.
Okay,
People
I
have
do
to get
not know
involved.
what you mean by being interactive,
You have
but
to-
right now also the focus is we want to tell our stories. Yeah, we want to host you. You tell us your 10-year experience or your story of how your perspective on life. Yeah, so we have that the Ugandan way. We do not want BBC to get to you. Then you feel like, okay, now I'm cool. I'm speaking to a white man, and then you start lying to them about how you've hustled and what. No, we want someone for us to be able to tell our stories the African way. Actually, that is one of our slogans, telling stories the African way. So to us, it's about how we bring out our stories to people, with different people. We want to host as many people as possible.
What you're saying is true, but then you are it works where it actually works, but then I would say you're in the wrong country. This is Uganda.
Yeah.
Ugandans, let me give you one thing about Uganda that makes you question. You'd look at a bar that is at in a very rugged area, grass and whatnot. When it rains, it's muddy and whatnot, but you'll find it full to capacity. Look at Drew's in the parking lot, full to capacity. But then you'll create your bar like how Club Play was. I can talk about it because right now it's no longer there.
Yeah.
You put in all the best custom seats, the best lighting and whatnot, but
Nothing
turn up is really down.
Yeah.
Turn up is really down, and you're suffering every corner of the way. You understand? So it's Ugandans. Ugandans is hype. Now, for you to create hype around your product, you have to be able to create a community around it, and it takes time. It takes hard work.
Yeah.
It takes commitment. Yeah, you create. If it means creating a WhatsApp group or whatever, where you're checking on people, you're like, hey guys, what can we talk about this week? What? So you first get guys who actually believe in the content, and guys who actually believe in what you're doing and why you're doing it, and guys who actually have interest in listening to podcasts, not just random people. Because you might get an influencer, but they barely even read, they barely even listen to any podcast. So if you tell them, hey man, push big conversations, Tavi Tegera is just going to say something. Oh, listen, my man Mark has a podcast. Tune in. You understand? That's all they're going to say. Like, I've heard that. What am I going to pick from that? Me who has never had big conversations. You understand? True. At least if someone listens in and actually says, yo, what we're talking about with Albert, what they talked about with so and so, what they talked about, who was that hot chick you had last time?
Simran. She actually works for Next Media.
No, not Simran.
Melissa.
Yeah, Melissa. Yeah. They had a good conversation. They talked about this. Melissa has this insight and has this. Oh, I was wowed by what she said. Not like how guys were moving with the Albert podcast without marketing and whatnot, and how you understand that kind of. Now imagine everyone you host, there's a conversation like the one you had around.
So I'll tell you something. So how we get feedback.
Yeah.
There's feedback I get from Twitter.
Yeah.
Where probably some people would have picked up something. Then I have people in Ohio who write emails full of you are ignorant on this, ignorant on this, ignorant on this. This is not what I want to listen to, and it is genuine feedback. Then I have immediate feedback. Today I do not have one of the guys that criticizes one of these podcasts. It's called Fahad, but he listens to everything we are saying. Then he tells you, for you to produce a big conversation, you're supposed to go into depth of how big maybe Humphrey, what he faced into the challenge, why he had to leave Next Media. And these are things we're also still going to talk about today. So, but I take in all this criticism, see it, and I know how to filter what is just hype. My man Albert was on the podcast. Then I have a few people who believe he's still not yet a big influencer himself. And then I know that he has been on brands. So yeah, it works two ways. There are people who have the hype who will get you to where you want. Then I think also people are into like categories of groups. You see how Robert runs the space, and it has a different kind of clientele that people listen to it. Maybe people like who are old and whatnot, but I've had most of his guests also on the podcast, because I've had Tony Otoa here, I've had Hilary Bamlinde here, and all those are probably also looking at having him himself talk about his media fraternity and why he has ventured out. I do not know why. It's a government entity. All that stuff, but it's different. So you get all this feedback, then you have to think of how do we move forward. But we entertain all the feedback because it helps us improve. You look through it and you really see if something makes sense to you. You know that this shouldn't happen.
I think when you realize your niche, then things become easier. Now you've mentioned for Robert Kapshenga's space. That space is because Robert Kapshenga has had garnered this. He has built this hype around himself. Yeah. Now, like, if you can't compare him to any other CEO. If you look at the other media house, On the other side, some people don't even know the boss on the for Daily Nation, Nation Media. They don't even know the CEO. You understand?
That's Next Media Nation.
No, then I'm saying they
NTV.
Yeah, the entire conglomerate.
Daily Nation,
Yeah. So some people don't even know who the CEO is.
I personally don't know who the CEO is.
I won't tell you. They don't know. Now, for him, and even the one who replaced him, who replaced Kapshenga, he's not really there. He didn't create the
the thing with the one who replaced Kapshenga is people know him from the government.
People knew him before. Yeah, there's knowing him, but are you creating a community around yourself? Now, with Kapshenga, he has always been creating a hype around himself, and also because he made himself relatable to young people. There are times when his responses on Twitter are really, they blow you away. Now, there's one time someone asked him some provocative question. I don't remember it, and his response was like, "Go and ask your mother."
Because at the end of the day, he's human, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So he doesn't put himself in that stature of I don't say this, I don't say that. Like he says that, "Yo, I am you, you are me." You understand? Like, yes, young people, when you grow up, you can still be cool when you grow up. You don't have to be those old traditional conservative people when you grow up. Like, so people relate with him. So. And that's just on Twitter. Yeah. So to show you that, now to prove to you that it's about creating your niche and creating a community around yourself. If he goes now and puts that space on Zoom,
Facebook. Yeah, Zoom.
He won't get the same 600 people that listen in. 700 people, 500. He won't get the same number.
But also the numbers have dropped. I do not know if it's because at some point COVID was...
No, it's hype. Ugandans are like that. Ugandans are very tricky to understand, by the way. It's just about you doing what you feel is right and then sticking by it and looking for ways of try and error to improve it. Yeah. Because Ugandans are very funny. It's hype. Once the hype disappears, Ugandans will disappear.
Now, for you,
I've given you an example with the buzz. Yeah, with the buzz, they'll go to the bar which is the weakest, but because the hype is right there, people used to say pana. You go to pana, it's just kafunda. You understand? True. But you'd think you're going to some VIP.
But a lot of stuff contribute to that: the DJ, the music, the environment, your friends' accessibility, and what with the buzz. Maybe
the hype comes with, of course, the friends. If your friends are not talking about the place, why would you be there in the first place? Yeah, it's your friends talking about it. Yeah. It was people creating hype that, we're taking pictures at Latitude. Now everyone wants to go to Latitude to take pictures. So it's a hype. Now that hype will die because that hype used to be at Serena before. Every wedding couple would go to Serena to take pictures. Models, Serena in the gardens and whatnot. And that car bridge over that fountain and water and whatnot. So the hype comes and hype dies. So Ugandans are like, I have to say, up to now I've not yet figured out Ugandans. I have to be honest. And I don't think anyone should ever lie that they have figured out Ugandans. Yeah. Though the only people that I'll give credit to is this agency called TBWA. They love to pay for this kalango. The ones who handle MTN.
MTN,
yeah.
They also handled the brand. I know they handled very well. Yeah, but Joseph Wina is doing good work with Albert.
Joseph has just joined them.
Yeah, but I probably think he has been a brain behind because he's a tech guy.
True. Yeah. So you find that it's very tricky, but then again, when you figure it, it becomes now simple. Now, like TBWA, whichever way they figured it, whatever ad they touch, it's going to trend. Yeah, and that's what I said that it's about try and error, but also it has a lot to do with talent. It's like a gift. You have to have gifted people.
Maybe the budgets are big.
Before the budgets come, the brilliant people can actually make a lot of dope stuff with even the smallest budget.
I know. Well, when you
people
talk
who
about
have budgets and you have
Next Media. They have big budgets and you still look at their stuff like, okay, they will trend. And I don't believe in
I think
trend.
they try because I have to cut them.
No disrespect to with digital, Dijan, top notch. One of the guys I know that is really doing dope stuff. Yeah. But still with
I think they need competition. No. Because right now where they are where WBS was before. You know when WBS used to be feeling that, we run this. We've introduced the whole nation to wrestling. We've introduced you to soaps. Like, I mean, they would even fire people like on the sport, regardless. We don't need you. Like, you come later and they just go back. You understand? You go there to look for a job and they really treat you like, man, we don't need you. You understand? So I think right now they are somewhere there. And if they don't get competition fast enough, they might also drop and just become mediocre, like what happened to NTV. NTV was dope before, but they reached a time where they felt you didn't find them at shows or events and whatnot. They feel like even if he's putting on a t-shirt, it feels like he's wearing a suit. But you understand, and somewhere, somehow, and King Karisa comes through and hits one on them. Yeah,
But that comes with big budgets because I don't
Yeah.
believe they have done anything unique from what NTV has been doing. They have replicated all their channels, gotten all their journalists. That's what they were doing. Nothing really new. The programming, again, that's the other issue I have with TV. The programming is almost the same. If I have to watch news on NTV, apart from Bouquet, they try to do it different with Agatari Konfufu. But then the hype also died because it looked like the stories were
The hype with what?
with Agatari Konfufu, with how that news. But
It's
the
the
concept
hype.
was making a lot of sense of getting extremely odd news
Yeah.
to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. No other media station
With
was doing
amateur
anything
video,
like that. Yeah,
not
with
necessarily
amateur videos.
professional,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was really good to me, but I do not know. I don't know. Maybe because I have also switched away from really
No,
watching
it's
TV.
like I told you, it's come back to hype. Ugandans, you have to really keep bringing them something new all the time.
How do we really convert this hype into real actual sales? Now, like hype influencers create, because what they do good right now is to create a lot of hype, yeah? So how do you propose you as Humphrey? You've also had 10 years in media, so you really know where the loopholes are. How do you think influential marketing should convert into sales?
Like I said, influencers are at the last pace. And they fall mainly in marketing. Now, these are two things that people need to really separate.
Yeah.
Marketing and sales are totally two different things.
Yeah,
And
now you're in sales.
Now, very many people, companies, and I've worked with some companies who are actually getting it wrong.
Yeah.
And even Vision Group used to get it wrong before, until Kabshenga realized and they said, wait, we have to separate these departments. So they put marketing in its own spot, and also sales in its own spot.
What's the difference?
Exactly. Now, here's the difference. Marketing is supposed to put the brand in your face. Yeah? Now that even brings in that branding is only really the same as marketing. They are still also different. Yeah? Now, marketing puts the brand in your face. Now, sales then comes in, gets the baton to actually convert that into sales. Yeah, you've done the advertising. You said we have marketing and branding will come through and say, okay, branding will now do this, and say we design like this. From now on, you'll have French cuts. We shall have Nikes. We shall have hoodies, or you'll be having jumpsuits and whatnot. This will be the set. It will be color blue, black, purple, red, and whatnot. Marketing now gets that and runs with it. Creates billboards, creates posters and whatnot. Pays the influencers now to move this and the communication lines and whatnot. Yeah, and then now sales will come in and say, you've seen the talkability, you see the mileage we have, the leverage we have. When we post our videos, we have like at least 1,000 views in a week or whatever. We have this. So what we want to do for you is that you come and we'll mention your business, your hotel, for at least 300K or 400 or 1 million, depending on at what level you've reached. Yeah. But if you also want that, we can also have cushions with your logo. If it's MTN, you say MTN, we want to have cushions with your logo on. And we have some product placement. They call it product placement. We have some mugs there with your logo and whatnot. Every after 30 minutes, our host will be mentioning your brand and mentioning whatever packages you have or promotions that are running. And then instead for this, we'll have this. So you create a rate card, yeah. And then that's when you transform or convert that into what? Into sales, because now the sales start coming in. Now that's when you realize. But until then, if you have not yet realized that the two are very different, you keep on.
The point of differentiating the two is to have both teams focus to do what they have to do best. Yeah, the guys that have to brand this focus on just making sure that this appears very well. Then the guys that have to take the effect of this to the final guy also just focus on that. Yeah.
Otherwise, I found companies that are really stagnant. They're not making sales. There's a radio station I was working on. I was trying to help them out, and they had one guy, one who was helped by a chick. And this guy was the one doing marketing and sales. But in actual sense of it, he was a marketing guy. But because they thought you're the one who does the marketing, you're the one who's supposed to bring the money.
The one thing I know about sales, though,
the guy couldn't convert anything. There's a way you have to do it, because brands are going to, when you go to, let's say, a potential advertiser, here's one thing: they don't want to hear you telling them that you want their money. And that's not how you sell. And I keep telling this to people: don't tell a potential advertiser that you want their money. Tell them why they should have you, why they should be with you. Show them value. Yeah. When you're asking for a TV job, you don't tell them that you want a TV job. Tell them why they should have you, why they should have
What you
your
can do
TV,
for
your
them.
TV
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
You understand? Compare yourself to what they already have. Do some background research. See where they're actually spending their money, and then see how you can give them value. You say, you guys are putting your things here and here and here, but then again, the TV show that you're sponsoring is only like 40 minutes or 1 hour. For us here, we do like for 3 hours. And we have views to this, and we're on these platforms, and we don't actually expire. Someone will still come back to the same episode 10 years later, 5 years later, 6 months later, and still find that episode with your branding. Yeah, and we're still mentioning because it doesn't change.
Yeah.
So once you give them all those details, properly ironed out on paper and whatnot, trust me, there's no one with sense that will refuse to give you money. Or even not, at least not, even if it's not at that moment, but at least they'll put it in their financial year and be like, this financial year will make a budget, we shall have big conversations, we shall have this and we shall do this. They might even come up with some ideas and say, but you know what, why don't you even actually shoot from our offices once in a while? Yeah, because we have this nice lounge and whatnot. So it's once you understand that those are all different departments, and then you find a way how you can interrelate them and them moving together, that's when you can actually convert like you said, the influential marketing into actual sales.
Interesting. Let's now first jump away into crypto and online trading. Tell me about online trading. I have, with crypto, I probably wanted Bitrade. I know a few things, but also I am not yet at that level where I'm willing to risk my money. Yeah. I have seen that some of these trends depend on how Elon Musk has to tweet. So I don't think I have the luxury to put my money on such a risk on just one.
Yeah, it's risky because I have to be honest.
How is it working for you though?
Okay, right now, for these last 3 days, I think I've lost 2 million. But that's part of the game.
Yeah.
That's part of the game. Let me say something about trading.
Yeah.
People don't understand what trading is.
Yeah.
They think they are taking it from the perspective of the buffet. You understand that this is a get rich quick scheme. They think you put in 1 million and you get 100 million right out. You understand, and then you're driving a Range Rover right away. Now that is the kind of dream that the buffet sell because they want you to get excited. You put in and then they run away with your money. Yeah. And I also tell people this sort of thing, that don't give anyone your money. Learn to trade on your own. Now, for someone who doesn't understand what trading is online, I'll give an example. You see a Forex bureau where you go with your shillings and then you get dollars or Tanzanian shillings, whatever. Yeah. Or you go there with your dollars to get shillings. That's a Forex bureau. Now, think about it if you put it online, where you don't have to actually walk there. Because I ever gone to a Forex bureau and you want to change, let's say 10 million, and they don't have that, they have like 6. Yeah. Now, because they are limited, it's only there unless you want to go to another Forex bureau. But now online, it's so liquid that whatever amount of money you want to change or to sell or buy, it's there. There's a buyer, there's a seller. The liquidity is in trillions of dollars. Yeah. So there's no one point where you want to sell and there's no one willing to buy. There's no one point where you want to buy and there's no one willing to sell. You understand? And this is where also banks make a lot of money. Banks don't even tell you that. Yeah. Banks make a lot of money from trading. Yeah, and they never tell you that, and this is something you can actually research and find out on your own. They have they have departments which are just for that. Yeah, and one of the banks that is big on that is also Centenary Bank. Now, what they do, because they have all your money, they have most companies paying their salaries through their those banks, so the capital is there. So they will quickly buy like $1 billion of let's say Australian dollar, and then sell it and get a yen, then sell it and get $1. Then so the differences they make a lot of money, billions and billions every day. Yeah, they make a lot of money. So when you go online, most people think that these things are only for Wall Street. They don't think that you can do it when you're in Uganda. You can. But before you get that, I'd say you have to first invest in reading, in the knowledge. Before I entered, when I first entered, I wanted to just trade right away. So I went to YouTube, saw tutorials of trading, and YouTube guys make it so simple.
Exactly. First of all, the ads are running so much. Yeah. There's all these apps that you have to get, expert options, whatnot. And it looks so easy. The guy tells you, investing, you can even just try with some random money investing. As the stocks go up, you can press green, then you can withdraw instantly.
Now, there's one thing people need to know. When you get those apps, they first introduce it to what they call, technically it's called paper trading. Paper trading, in other words, a demo account where they're not giving you actual money. They're giving you like paper money, basically fake money, for you to trade to practice. But then that trading platform they give you makes the trading so simple that every time you invest, you actually get a profit. Yeah. Now then you want now to use your actual money, and that's when you get hit. And also most of those apps are also not genuine. They are fake apps, the ones you just see on on YouTube ads.
Yeah.
So first you invest in the learning. There are courses on Udemy, on Coursera, online. There are courses for trading. So you get those. You first learn how to trade. Yeah. Then from there, you do research in whatever you want to specialize in. Is it crypto? Is it Forex? Is it commodities? Whichever.
What do you specialize in?
Me, I specialize in Forex, in crypto.
Yeah.
Because crypto to me has more volatility.
What crypto are you trading?
I trade any that moves. It's not just Bitcoin. I just trade any that moves because there are very many.
Yeah,
there are very many. So I see any.
I have friends trading Doge, white friends who are actually making genuine money. Max was
Yeah.
telling me she's now. She has good money for now, and she's doing Doge. But the whole concept is what I want to understand now from you. So some other guy can also learn. And I'll definitely consult you because I'm definitely going to trade personally. Yeah.
Now, one thing that people need to know so that you don't lose money. Many people have lost money and have given up. One, because I also blame the media. And I've had these, not quarrels, but these kind of talks with people where I used to work before. I'd be like, we're the ones who are supposed to tell people if this is actually a scam or actually true.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, we have to acknowledge the fact that, yes, Buffett have come and have duped people a lot of money. You understand? But then as media, because of lazy journalism, most of these media houses only go deep in the scams, and they spread this fear or this kind of perception that this thing is actually not real, it is fake. Yeah? For example, is gold fake or real?
It's real.
But do you know, if I can bet you 100%, if you had 20 million right now, or 40, or just even talking dollars, if you had like 20,000 USD, and you went to Kampala Road to look for gold, chances are you're going to be sold fake gold.
That's right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You go to Kamwocha. People are making real gold here in Kamwocha. They are making money up to like about $4 million every day. Yeah? In that black market in Kamwocha. And the actual thing is the actual gold is there, but because Buffett are everywhere, so it's up to you to actually understand or invest in understanding first what actual gold looks like, so that you're not duped. Same thing with trading.
Yeah.
And it's very simple, by the way, because when you go online,
you said it's very simple, but if it was very simple, a million of people would be doing it. Yeah.
Do you know why it looks complicated before you understand it? Now you first do research. Now you can go to Forbes, you go to CNN, you go to where you look, you just put in trading. Yeah. So they'll bring up all the articles on trading. Yeah, all the articles they have done. Yeah, so then you look at in those articles, which exchanges are they talking about? Are they talking about Binance? What are they talking about it? Oh, so it's legit. Okay. They're talking about what? FX Pro? Oh, so it's legit. So it gives you some sort of like confirmation. Yeah. If you go to Bloomberg.com, so you make a research and you're like, okay, now these are the legit exchanges.
Yeah.
So you go there and you register, and you're actually sure that you've actually registered with people who want to steal your money. Yeah. Now you've already bought your courses, you've learned like 3 months back, now you're good. You start with little money. First, start with what you can lose. Start with 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, or 4, depending, or 5, depending on
the luxury. I can lose 1 million, but because I have the luxury to lose 1 million. What's the chances that an ordinary person can I start with extremely?
No, here's an idea that people need to understand. Trading is sold on a simple basic. Simple basic is buy low, sell high. And people already doing it. Only that they're doing it in a local way. When you go downtown to Mukwana Arcade, Chikubo, that side, you'll find those old men with dollars, bundles. I don't know if you've noticed them. They're called money changers. They are basically trading, but they're trading in the traditional way. You understand? The guy comes with his $3,000 in the morning. He knows whoever wants to get shillings, he sells to you. But he's selling to you at his own what? At his own price rate. Yeah. You understand? So now you're moving from that and you're coming online. You understand? Now online, you don't have to go to Chikobo to sit and wait for whoever comes. People already there online. You understand? So you look at, there's what they call technical analysis. So you look at all the assets, all the whatever you want to deal in. Is it Forex? You look at, okay, is the dollar going to go up? Okay, if the dollar is going to go up, let me first sell my Uganda shillings, my 1 million, and buy dollars. Yeah? Right now it's at 3,550. In a week, when I look at the chart like this, it might go to 3,650 or 3,640. So let me buy now. When it goes 3,640 like this,
I
you
withdraw.
sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sell. So you've made a profit. Yeah, so you do the same thing.
Yeah, that
You
makes
buy
sense.
low, sell high. Buy low, sell high. Same simple basic. Once you get that, but to get that, you need to study what they call technical analysis. Now, technical analysis and also what they call price action. These are the courses now that teach you to understand price movement, so that you can be able to tell where the price might be headed. Because if you don't know, you're just trading blindly and you're just buying. Okay, let me buy. Okay, now let me sell. You understand? You're going to make up losses because you might buy thinking it's going to go up, then it goes to.
So how come you've lost about 2 million in the last 2 weeks?
Because now here's what happens. You can never be right 100%.
True.
You can
With
make
everything in life.
exactly.
Yes.
Everything has a risk. Otherwise, everyone would be trading. So there are times when I made trades that didn't go my way. You understand? I made trades that didn't go my way. I was trading. One is called Troy. I was trading it with a pair for USDT. Another one is Doge. Another one is Ethereum. Now, what happened was, I was anticipated the price to go up, but because sometimes what moves the money also sometimes there are banks that move a lot of money.
Yeah.
There are individuals that move billions. For you are trading here with your 10 million, 15, 20. There are banks that are moving trillions of dollars. So for them, when they sell, the whole market also dumps. You get? So even if the trend is showing that it's going up, if those big institutions sell, it's going to go what? Down. But also, vice versa, if they actually buy, even if the trend was going down and they buy, it's going to go up. You get that the price is going to go up. So those are some of the risks. But you go into it knowing. Same thing if you started a shop or a supermarket. You might have buy tons and tons of milk and it goes bad, or meat, and people don't buy it and it goes bad. So everything is risky. And however much I made that loss, I can still make it back. Actually, from here is what I'm going to do. So that I left the trade running. I left the trade running on what they call VET. Yeah, VET is another coin.
So how much of your time in the day does trading take?
It depends. Trading has different styles. What they call scalping.
Yeah.
Is what they call.
What's scalping?
Scalping, you go in because, okay, here's the thing. Prices change every second.
Yeah.
Not minute or day or... Now, what Forex bureaus lie to us, they give us a fixed price. Yeah? If they change it like after a day or 2, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But the actual thing is that price is changing every second. So scalping, you go in just to get the smallest change in those seconds or minutes. You understand? So even if it's just 20 shillings that has changed, let's say the price, let me give you an example to understand very well. Let's say the Uganda shilling is at 3,550 shillings. Yeah? And then you buy, and then it goes to 3,560 shillings. Then you sell. You get? Then you go back in. You buy it at, winter's probably dropped to 3,540 and then, or 45. And then you buy, and then it goes to 355. Then you sell. You get? So you're moving in to just get those small changes, and then as they accumulate with time, you're making money. You're accumulating profit at the end of the month.
The same way a seller in Chikubo does. They're selling a lot of that. Let's say that rock boom, selling it, and they're only getting like 75 shillings.
Exactly.
Every
but because it's a lot of stuff that they're selling. Yeah. It's like someone, I was shocked when I first had someone dealing in PK, and they showed me the house they have, and I was like, PK is just 200 shillings. Like, really?
Yeah, but they're selling a lot of
and the guy said, this guy brings in containers. So even if it is taking just 50 shillings.
Yeah, I remember the time I was selling juice. How much, because I was selling my juice at a really, really low price. Selling, I think, every cup like at 3,500. But then I was getting a lot of these offices to sell it too. But the actual juice was costing me around 3,300 to make it. Actual price I've paid the guys that were putting the fruits, the transport to Nakasero and all that stuff. But because if the numbers are huge, you actually make a profit of like a million in a month. Yeah.
So that's the difference. You buy low, sell high. That's the main basic. And I usually tell people, don't trust anyone with your money.
Do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
But first understand it.
Okay. But if you don't, it's not everyone's cup of tea. There are people who are okay with what they do. There are people who do real estate and that's what they know. There are people who do farming and that's what they know. So trading is not something.
How long have you been trading?
I've been trading for now, I think, 3 years. Yeah, 3 years now. I think I started around 20.
When did you buy Bitcoin? When did you first buy Bitcoin?
When I first bought Bitcoin. That was 2019.
Okay.
I remember my first profit was, you can't believe it, I told people it was 50,000. But I was very happy. It was my first successful trade. I was very happy. I even had to call my girlfriend at the time. I was like, I made 50,000. Yeah, she was like, come on, you called it 50,000. I thought you had made $1 million. You understand? But just the excitement of having traded successfully. Yeah. But at the time when I bought Bitcoin, there's been a lot of, how can I say, skepticism. Like even if I trade it, many of us have not been holding. We just trade and buy and sell, buy and sell. Yeah. It's only recently when I got into now holding. You hold it because now when you hold, you make the most. You buy like now when your plan is to sell like 2022, 2024. Yeah. Now imagine someone who bought Bitcoin and just kept with it. Like 2 years back. They would be balling right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah? Or even just 10 years back when it was just as low as 300,000 shillings.
Well, like I told you, I am still going to shed you onto that online trading conversation with an expert I trust who has been trading for some time.
Yeah.
My good man, Kenneth, I'll do it sometime in the future. You'll be back on the podcast with him. But let's now, as we conclude, let's look into the person here. One thing I know, you're a bit controversial online, but that is because you want to give your opinion to, and sometimes people don't welcome it, but I've faced that. I also know that you want to correct people. When you see something you feel is not right, you want to give a right opinion. Do you feel that is, how do you feel about that anyway?
Okay, it's a lot to do with personality. And if there's anything I tell people never to apologize for, is who they are. Embrace who you are. Because you're not always perfect. No one is perfect. You embrace who you are, it helps you somewhere else. It's a bad side. If whatever people criticize about you, it's just the bad side of your good side. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah?
Yeah. It does.
If you're a person who, how can I say? If you're a person who is an introvert, and people think you don't have jazz, or you don't talk so much, you're not conversational, it's a bad side of your good side, because most of the time those people actually think too much and are very creative if you give them what to do, especially if they are either painters or they are producers. If you look at the best producers, the ones who actually, they are not really those, hey, hello, let's go and party. They are very quiet people. They stay in their room or wherever they are, make their beats or do anything. Like they are, So to me, if someone criticized that, me, first of all, my personality is I'm radically honest. I'm very random. But it's also what made me good at what I do. You understand? Especially when it came to my writing. Yeah. When it comes to how I create, how I think, I'm a person who will say something and it will piss you off. However much we might have a good conversation now, you never know when we're ending the conversation. I'll make a comment and you'll be like, Nika Noka guy. But it's only my good close friends that understood that.
Yeah, but
that
also
when I say something, it's not coming from a point of hate.
Yeah.
That, I don't like you, I undermine you.
Point of being genuine.
Yes, just genuine, and it's just out there.
Yeah.
You understand?
Personally, I do not have a problem with that because I've grown. My father is very direct with what he wants to say about stuff. He doesn't have to pan a bit. If he wants to tell you that you're putting on dirty shoes, even if it's a wedding, he'll tell you that. Like, there's no room for being apologetic for nothing. Yeah. So I've grown up knowing that you're supposed to take in criticism if it's genuine, because he's my father. Why? He doesn't hate me. He's just telling me something as genuine as it is. Yeah. So I like criticism. It improves the person I am.
Yeah, but sadly now people on Twitter love so much to be woke.
Yeah, because of how Twitter is being built.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now I think it's very dangerous. And I think if by any luck such people actually are listening, watching this, if anything I can tell them is that don't let social media take you in so bad. Because one, it will make you hate people who would actually be nice to you if you met them in person. And it also make you love people who would actually be toxic to you if you actually met them in person.
Yeah.
Because toxic people are actually very nice people online.
I know
that. They tend to be so nice online. And when you hear them now, there are very many people like. But I'm like, if these people actually got to know this person in real life,
it'll be tricky.
That would probably be the last time.
That I totally agree.
Yeah, there are very many people, but they get likes, they get retweets. You see them, I'm like, okay, be a cool person. They trend, they say something, and someone is like, oh, we are together. And the thing is, they never really interact on a deeper level. If they interact, they're like going out at the same bar in town and whatnot, having enjoyments, and then that's it. They never really interact like on a really close friendship. And every time I'm like, I wish they actually do. But to me, if I see something that I don't like or I don't agree with, I'll say it. If you feel offended, you can block me. I have no problem because I will still buy my food. I'll still take myself to hospital. I'll still buy my fuel. I still pay for my yaka. I don't have to come to you to plead for anything. So if you feel really offended, that is really terrible. But there are some people actually who have actually gone ahead to apologize to. Yeah. I think one of the last, and I think you've realized I stopped over tweeting these days. Yeah, because I saw Twitter is now becoming so brittle. Everyone is looking for an excuse to be offended. Yeah, everyone wants to jump on you and cancel you. Yeah, I think the last person I cracked a joke on, I went and apologized. I think it's called I want to apologize to Russ again. That Twitter.
Russ is I find him I don't want to, but because people think different, I find him. I think he's an idiot. I'm saying that on my podcast. I personally think he's an idiot, but that is what I think.
Yeah. No, Russ, I felt attacked for the first time, but then I made a joke just for him when I mentioned the lingerie thing. Yeah, that I think you wear lingerie. Yeah. And the way it spiraled the whole weekend, 3 days.
I remember, yeah, exactly.
3 days I said, you know what?
But because that's his business. And this is the other thing I don't like with guys on Twitter. Now, guys specifically. The whole concept of just simping for the sake. When you actually even know the truth, that you know what? That is so outright radical. Someone is just saying it because it's just a movement and you just want to simp on it because these people are your friends and you ignore the blunt truth about
how at that time works. They were saying we're going to stone people, we are going to beat journalists, we're going to do what? So, and I mentioned something. I was relating to Dave Chappelle. I told them Dave Chappelle, he mentioned, I think, in some of his previous specials, and he's been talking about this thing. Yeah. Even this latest one. Yeah. He talked about feminism as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And the whole movement and the other people. And he said that had Nelson Mandela not done what he did, that independence or receiving of independence in South Africa could have ended by bloodshed. But because he understood that these racist people in South Africa at the time are not the ones who started it. They are victims as well. They grew up in that same system where black people are being looked down. They grew up in a system where they are privileged. So they are victims as well. But you are both victims on a different side. The other ones are the oppressors. You're the oppressed. You understand? So if you actually now attack them and say you're racist, no, we can't allow, you have to get out, we shall beat you up and whatnot. Mandela did that. We are tired, we have been killed, our mothers have been raped, what you understand? So you're going to make that white guy also defensive. He's going to now want to hold a gun at you. You understand? But if you actually now reached out and said, okay, we don't need to fight, we don't need to quarrel, but we are being oppressed here and here and here and we don't feel it's fair. First of all, this is our land. You understand? So then you find a way of having arrangements that can now see the next generations change. Yeah. But now if you come and say, you're a rapist. So then the one chick I asked, okay, if all men are rapists, does that include your dad? And she got offended and she was like, she called me an asshole actually. Yeah. I can't believe you're being an asshole. Me, I was just saying it for the figure of speech. I was like, but that's not how you are saying it. You're saying every man from one.
I think Daniel should get you on the men's podcast because he shares a lot of these sentiments. Just like the whole men are trash thing. Yeah? If we're going to raise our own children with the mindset that men are trash, it changes everything you want to really fight. Yeah. Because once my boy is right now about 6 years. Once he believes that men are trash, he has no reason to be a decent human being. If that is the notion you want to sell.
But can I say this? I think, I don't know if they will, but I don't care. I think feminists are dumb.
Okay.
And here's why I say they are dumb. I'm actually happy this conversation has moved from wherever it was to this. One, everything they are doing is actually going to help men. They want to legalize abortion.
Yeah.
Which man is against abortion, really? Apart from the ones who will be wanting to sound righteous and religious, that, don't abort, pro-life. Men will support women if they want abortion. Because first of all, it's not me who has to suffer through it. So if you want to abort, please, abort. You understand? You take your right, and as long as you also don't come to me to pay for it. Two, they want to legalize prostitution. Which man would be against prostitution? You understand?
Men live for that.
Yeah, men live for that. Actually, we're the ones funding prostitution. But they think if they say prostitution legalized, women are being oppressed, they think it's a middle finger to men. Men are the ones funding prostitution. Three, when it comes to this miniskirts and what?
Yeah. Something I find
exactly.
very
I'm okay with
outrageous.
miniskirts, but imagine this chick who's saying miniskirts are a middle finger to men. We want to wear them so that if they say it's wear something wrong,
Our bodies and all
yeah,
that.
our bodies are our bodies. Now imagine you are dating this chick, this feminist, and you're in your house. You have a housemaid, and she's wearing a miniskirt, and see what she'll say. She will not be okay with that. Ask them.
There is so much wrong with that. There is so much because you see, it's the same thing. Wear miniskirts and you can move at any time of the day. It's really it's an unsafe.
Whatever
word.
feminists are fighting for is going to help the next man. There's a screenshot I was going to tweet sometime, then I was like, people are going to say I love this topic too much.
Yeah.
This chick was like, I think that it was commenting about one of what's his name? This guy who takes boudoir pictures.
Bash Mutumba.
It was about some pictures taken by Bash Mutumba. Some chick had posted them, and guys were like, "Why don't you cover up? What is not enough?" So some chick mentioned it and said, "Guys, why don't you let women do what they want? What is their bodies?" I'm actually, if you're complaining, next week I'm going to post my own. And some guy commented, he was like, "Yes, please. Even next time, actually, show us the nipples. Don't even cover them. Show us everything. Please, we shall be there. We support you. We are with you all the way." So I was like, this is what I'm talking about. There are men who are actually going to love this. And I've been researching more on feminism, and feminism was different. It's a good thing, by the way. Because me, I have girls. I have 2 daughters. There's no way I would want them to grow up being oppressed by men. Actually, the way I bring up my daughters, you might even think they are spoiled. I teach them to be vocal. Yeah? But the sensible kind of vocal. Not the vocal where you're looking at every man as a potential rapist. Not the vocal where you're looking at every man as if they are here to oppress you. You're supposed to work with them, but create boundaries. Because men, I'll still say this, men still have their weaknesses. But that is nature. You can't fight nature. Yeah. If you're going to fight about rape and sleep on the street and shout on Twitter about rape, why don't you also shout about death, other murder? Because it's a crime. You can never stop crime. However much you say there's a death penalty for murder, people will always kill each other. However much you say there is a penalty for this, people will still do this. So rape is a crime, only that in this case, it is against one particular sex. Yeah? Most of the time. However much some men might be raped. You understand? So you have to understand some specifics that some things might not change. And as soon as you accept that, the sooner you find peace.
I agree, totally. Humphrey, just one question we always ask someone.
Yeah.
What legacy are you trying to leave behind, you as an individual?
I want to be remembered as a bad guy, basically.
Well done. Thank you for coming to the podcast. Definitely have you back. Definitely looking forward to creating stuff with you. Sure. Yeah, this has been very good, by the way. Thank you. You came late, but I am impressed.